So my family and I just got back from vacation this past week, where I got terribly sick. I was terribly sick on our vacation, to the point where I was basically down for a day and a half. I couldn't move. I couldn't really do anything too much. So I didn't work out all week. My plan was always to be consistent, regardless of where I am or what I'm doing, vacation or if I'm home or if I'm just, no matter what, I always want to be consistent in everything that I do. So today was my first day back. I haven't worked out in a week. Today was my first day back, and it sucked. And although it was only a week that I was off or that I took off, um, it was still kind of uneasy getting back into the groove, right? Getting back into the groove of working out again, getting up and getting on my way and trying to do the things that I usually do, right? Because I always push myself throughout my workout. And in getting started, I thought about something. Wise man once said, better is the end of a thing than the beginning. Wise man, you'll catch that later. And better is the patient in spirit than the proud in spirit. So I'm thinking, I'm like, man, it's going to suck getting back into the groove or getting back into my daily routine. But I had to remember why I started this routine, why I started to set out on this journey to be better physically. So the starting of something is probably one of the hardest things to do, regardless of what we want to do in our lives, what we want to do with our lives. Whenever we want to start something or where we're going into something, the start of it seems terrible. And it just seems like it's going to be a long process, and it's a drawn out process. And the process, a lot of times, it's a process in which we're not really willing to partake or go into. I think about that and remember the scripture in Ecclesiastes. So it allows me to know that the end or whatever will be the outcome of whatever I'm starting is going to be better than the feeling it was to start that thing. Prime example, many of us are at the end of our work week. Today is Friday. Many of us are at the end of our work week. Now, Fridays, everybody is happy. Everybody is joyous. Everybody is walking around the workplace with a smile on their face. But when Monday comes, everybody's walking around with their angry face on, or their frustrated face, or their sad face. Why? Because it's the beginning of a week. It's the beginning of the new work week. So we're not as joyous in the beginning of the work week as we are at the end of the work week. Why? Because there's the weekend, right? So the ending is better because there's something greater, there's something better at the end than in the beginning. The beginning, we think to ourselves, we still got 5 more days to get through, right? Including this one. We still got 5 days to get through before we get to that weekend. But in the end, it all comes down to our outlook. What is your outlook? How do you see things? When you go into something, do you look at it as if it's going to be this monumental task or this monumental burden upon you? Or do you look at it as another opportunity to go through a process that's going to make you better and make it and going to be better in the end? We all have the ability to control our outlook, no matter what it is, our outlook on life, situations, our journeys, even work. We all have the ability to control our outlook on these things. And when our outlook is skewed or messed up, then our process becomes messed up. But when we go into things with a positive outlook, knowing that the end is going to be greater than the beginning, makes the process that much easier to deal with and cope with and get through. So whatever you're about to go through or thinking about going through, the beginning may seem very small and it may seem cumbersome. But remember, the end is always going to be greater than the beginning. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning. Lastly, though thy beginning was small, yet thy the latter end should greatly increase. In the beginning, your thinking may have been small, your outlook may have been small, your pockets may have seemed small. Remember, in the end, the better you look at the process, in the end, everything is going to increase greatly. My thinking is going to increase greatly. My intellect is going to increase greatly. Wisdom may increase greatly. At the end of a work week, my pockets may increase greatly now because I made it through another work week, which means I made more money. So change your outlook or your perspective on the things you're about to go through, on the process you're about to go through, and see if it doesn't change the outcome greatly in your favor.